So let's move to the medical bags.
All right.
So why should we have this kind of medical bag with us when we are trying to take in shelter?
So, many people ask me, so what can I do in a situation like that? Okay, first thing, I can take care of myself, but
Yes.
I also want to help others. And so then I always recommend that people do some first aid training, because we also saw in Ukraine, for instance, that when there is a bomb explosion or something, there are many people are injured. So you need as many people as possible who can help with the first aid while we take the ones to hospital which are the most seriously injured, And so, as always, we talk first about how to take care of yourself.
Yes.
And then we talk about how to take care of other people.
So first of all, the smaller one.
So the smaller one, this is what we call an IFAK, an individual first aid kit. All right. And so you'll see that military people carry something like this, and journalists carry something like this. So it's small enough, you can put it on your belt and you can forget about it, but it's there all the time.
So this is for saving your own life.
To save your own life. Well, or somebody else can use it to save your life. But the idea is that it's on you so that you use what's on you, right? And so this does not have Band-Aids and little things in it. This is the serious stuff, all right? This is for war. This is for shrapnel wounds and bullet wounds, okay? And so what we have, firstly, on the outside, it has my blood group, O positive, right? It shows this is a first aid kit. Anybody who sees it say, okay, first aid kit. And NKDA means no known drug allergies.
Okay.
So it just means you can give me penicillin, you can give me anything, I'm okay. Just give it to me if I need it, all right? So this is already useful information just right there on the outside.
So everyone should have his own, like, this pad.
Right, or at least the first aid one, and you can write your blood group on something if you have to, but yeah, it's useful to have that. Secondly, on the outside, I have a whistle again, and this one is really loud.
Oh.
I'm sorry, okay? So this is like a really high class, very, very loud whistle. My ears are...
You should give me a wall.
I'm sorry. But yeah, if you are in the mountain or you're in a building or you are helping someone who is injured and you need help, you blow that whistle, people are going to hear you, all right? Okay, so we open our IFAK, our first aid kit. And first out is what we call an Israeli bandage. Okay?
What is special about this?
It's a strip of cloth. It has something inside that helps to stop bleeding. And it has a plastic clip on it that you can put on where the wound is to keep the pressure.
Yeah.
So it's a pressure bandage.
Okay.
All right, to stop heavy bleeding.
Okay.
So first, heavy bleeding. All right. Also, you want to put on gloves when you are dealing with somebody who is injured.
The plastic glove?
Yes. So you protect yourself and the patient by putting on gloves. So that comes out first. Okay. Then also for bleeding, we have what is called a tourniquet.
Tourniquet.
So a tourniquet is a strap that you also can put around above the wound. Let's say I have a wound here and it's bleeding a lot. Put the strap on, and then using this tool, you can twist it to tighten it to stop the bleeding.
This is a popular item, popular stuff now.
Yes.
So a lot of organizations try to teach people how to use
a tourniquet. Yes, absolutely. Because some years ago, a very famous journalist, Tim Hetherington, died in Syria. And because he had a wound on his leg by where there's an artery here, and so he was bleeding very heavily, and nobody around him had any first aid materials or any knowledge. And so he bled to death. He just bled out right there within 30 minutes. So if you have something like this, you can put it around, stop the bleeding, you can save someone's life, right? Secondly, when you look at airway, so first aid, we remember A, B, C, is airway, bleeding, breathing, and circulation. So circulation is bleeding. And so this is a tool you can use if somebody's throat is injured or they have something in their mouth or something. You can put this into their throat like this, and it means they can breathe.
Can you take it out and show it in front of the camera?
All right, so this is an airway, and you kind of need to train how to use it. But it's a simple thing that you can help somebody who is not who is unable to breathe.
So it's a tool to help people to breathe.
Yes,
Okay.
if they have an injury to their neck or their throat.
Injury.
Yes, specifically. This is just a face shield that you can put over someone's mouth if you want to give them resuscitation breathing. If you want to into their mouth, this will be, it's a valve that goes just only one way, the air, and so it protects you and protects them, and you can give mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
Yes.
Then these are, together with this, burn dressings. So if someone has a very serious burn from like a bomb or something, you open that up, there's a gauze inside with some liquid. You can feel there.
Yeah.
So you can put the liquid on the burn, it will cool it down, and put the dressing on. And then these are also smaller burn dressings that you can help to seal the wound, cool it down, and help to save someone's life.
Okay.
All right. Then this is Celox, which is a blood clotting agent.
Oh, okay.
So also, if someone is bleeding, especially more on the body, you can pour that into the wound and close it up, and it will help to stop the bleeding.
Okay.
All right. So this is for extremities. This is for more on the body or something. All right. And then lastly, this is called a chest seal. So if you get shot or shrapnel into your chest, right, then often your lungs can't work properly anymore because the lung works on that the chest opens and it pulls in air into your lungs. But now if there's a hole here, then the air goes in here, and then your lungs cannot inflate properly.
Okay.
All right. So if we have a chest wound, we need to seal it so that the lung can inflate, or at least can keep air. So this is really a plastic sheet that is very sticky. And you open it, you stick it onto the chest wound. There are two, because often with bullet wounds, you have an entry wound and you have an exit wound. Okay. So you can put this on the front and on the back.
Oh, okay.
And then these are, this one is called vented, so it means that it can open, so you can get the air that's inside the chest to expel out, then close it, and then the next breath the person takes, you will get air into his lungs again. So bleeding and lung punctures are probably the most common ways that soldiers and journalists, people who are in a war situation, die. And so just with this little kit, there's something you can do about those things.
Okay, but all of these things look like not the everyday items.
These are not everyday items.
So
you can buy them, you can purchase them online, but you really should take some course to learn how to use these things. So I
can buy it from like internet.
Yes.
But I must take some course to know how to use it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
okay, so yes, we are probably going to be putting on some courses like this in the future.
I look forward.
And then I will certainly let you know when that happens, because there are people who have come to Taiwan, or who travel around the world actually, who specifically train journalists for working in what we call high-risk environments.
Yes.
And they will give them a kit like this and they'll teach them how to use it.
Okay, looking forward to it. Let me know, and I will let the audience of Academia Formosa know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, the IFAK, the individual first aid kit, we try to carry on our person,
Yes.
right? That's now really only for very serious circumstances when we know that things are really bad. But then this is what I call my trauma kit, that will live in my car.
Okay.
And so you will see inside is a lot of what's already in the individual first aid kit, just extra, but there's a few other items as well. So firstly, flashlight, because again, in the dark, when you're trying to help somebody, to rescue someone, you need a good quality flashlight. Okay. This is a very strong, very good quality. Again, you can clip it onto something, and you can see what's going on, and you can signal with it if you need somebody to come and rescue you.
Yeah, this is important, especially in the darkness.
Absolutely, you know, because especially if somebody is injured, you need a good light to be able to tell what exactly is their problem, identify where are they injured, and do something about it. Then I already showed my skeletal. This is another one. It's the same, similar design, but this one is called the rescue tool, and it has a different size shaped blade, because what you need for this would normally be like cutting through rope or something, if somebody is like tangled up in things, and also to cut fabric. So it's got a shape like that, so you can cut close to somebody's skin without injuring them. All right? And this, for instance, is a glass breaker. So if somebody's stuck in a car, you can like break the glass with that in order to rescue somebody out of a car. All right? So I keep this one on here, even though I always have a similar tool on my belt. Just again, so if that gets lost or whatever, or I need to give this to somebody else, they have it.
2 is 1.
2 is 1, 1 is none. Very good. All right. And then these are called rescue shears. So it's basically a pair of scissors. All right.
You can just cut off the clothes.
You can go right in and cut the clothes off somebody, because especially if somebody is injured and they're starting to swell up, it's very difficult to get clothes off. So you got to be able to go in there and just cut it off. This also has a cutter here, so you can cut like a ring. If somebody's ring is stuck on their hand, you can cut it off.
Can you show it in front of the camera? Yeah. This is can cut the ring.
Wire or rings, something like that. And also has a tool for cutting safety belts. And then also a glass breaker. So you can also break glass like that. This one is folding, so it basically folds up like this, like that. This part comes out separately. So again, like I say, cutting safety belt. And that is actually a wrench for an oxygen bottle. You can open the oxygen bottle with that. So very compact, very simple, but a very useful tool to have. Okay. All right. Now, again, I always have something on my first aid kits to show this is a first aid kit. So that if somebody's, oh my God, somebody's injured, what do we do? Oh, first aid kit, right? You spot it right away that this is what it's for. Okay. So this one is designed.
Let's go inside.
Yeah. So that when you open it, everything stays together. Nothing's going to just fall out over the floor, right? You need to be able to control your equipment and your tools and so on. So just very briefly, again, that's the same as the Israeli bandage that I mentioned before. It's called the trauma bandage. This one is just slightly bigger. Okay. Then I have airways in different sizes, because for a child or for an adult you need a different size airways. All right. There's a pen, because you need to write down information. If you can ask somebody who's injured, you ask them their name, you can write it down. If you put on a tourniquet, you should write down the time that you started, so that it doesn't stay on for longer, like 10 minutes or so, and so forth. All right. So a pen that can write on any kind of surface. Basic antiseptic, you know, just so for that kind of stuff. Another space blanket or emergency blanket, which is just foil. This is a triangular bandage, which is multi-purpose, but mostly like if you want to tie somebody's arm to stay in one position.
Make it stable.
Yeah, to stabilize something, exactly. Firstly, let me just remind you that when we open up, we're going to need gloves, right?
Okay.
Before we touch the patient, gloves, a mask, and something to clean your hands, clean the area, that kind of thing, right? This is now a slightly higher level of care than our IFAK, right?
Yes.
Because our IFAK is just stop the bleeding, make sure the person is breathing. Here we have a little bit more that we can work on. So clean the wound, clean the area, clean your hands, and put on the gloves and put on the mask. Okay.
This is basic but fundamental.
Absolutely. So then we showed little bits of those things. So here, not everybody has access to this. This is an EpiPen. And the idea is that if someone goes into anaphylactic shock due to a bee sting or some kind of drug allergy, you can actually inject them with this, and it will reduce the effects of the shock. So, but this is something that you need to have a prescription for, and you need to be sure what's going on with the patient before you just use that. So the more advanced stuff here all require some training.
Yes.
All right.
True.
Okay. These are just forceps. They can lock, right? So this is the kind of thing where somebody's got a major gash. You've put on a tourniquet, but you can actually see where blood is pumping through an artery. You can actually clamp that artery, lock it in, and tape it down onto the person's body, and it will keep that artery closed for you. All right. This is, slightly more advanced than your usual first aid, but it's just something that you have. My principle with most things is like, I'd rather have something and never need it than really need something and I don't have it.
Yeah.
Okay? Right. So, more burn dressings, bigger burn dressings. This is... it's open because my son used it the other day on somebody who got injured. Yeah. Well, no, it's just saline solution. So yes, it can be used for contacts, but also to clean out the wound. So you take it off, open it up, and squirt it in to get foreign debris or any dirt or anything like that in a wound to get it out. So to clean a wound, or somebody's got something in their eye, you can squirt it and clean their eyes with that. Okay. Then just some gauze, things that you can help for bleeding and so on. These are casualty cards, and so you can write on here anything that you've given a patient or location of injuries, and attach it to the patient so that when the ambulance comes, they have some information already to start. Not something that's essential, but it's just that I have. That's a bigger Celox blood clotting agent pack and another vented chest seal. All right. So again, we're now doubling up. So if we have multiple injuries, multiple casualties, we can deal with that. Two chest seals going together. All right.
Okay.
Okay, and then I have one item here that is definitely very specialized and need proper training for. It's a needle to aspirate a pneumothorax. So that's now a lot of words, but pneumothorax is what I was talking about before. If you have a chest wound, if air gets between the lung and the chest walls, then the lung will flatten itself. It collapses, right? And that is called a pneumothorax. And in order to get that air that's now stuck in between out, you can use a needle like this, and you go in like here or here, but you really have to know what you're doing. To go in what they call the interpleural space, and you can actually vent the air in, there out.
So the needle will become like a channel for the air.
For the air to come out, yes. And then that in conjunction with your chest seal and so on, you can now manage what's going on with the patient's chest and get air into their lungs again, which is what you want to do. You want them to be able to breathe.
This sounds really professional.
All right. So this is, like I said, this is not something I generally recommend. But if you have training with it, again, it's one of those things where if somebody's dying right in front of you, you say, look, you're going to die. I'm going to stick this needle into you, and it might help or it might not help, but what do you say? And if it's me, I'll say stick it.
But someone has to take some course before you use it, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. Because you don't know how to use it properly.
No, because you have to hit the right spot, and if you don't get it, you're just puncturing the person's lung even more. You know. Okay, so some tape and so on, just to hold things on with. And this is like a scalpel blade, so it's just a super sharp scalpel blade, and that you could do.
What is that for?
Anything you need to cut that needs a real precision and so on. So
including like skin.
Yes, yeah. Okay, then some more alcohol pads, all right, and for antiseptic for a wound, right, around the wound area. This is a pressure bandage. 12 years ago now, I was bitten by a snake in Taiwan, a Taiwan habu, right, the Quaker Hua, on my leg here. And my friend had one of these in his first aid kit. So we put the pressure bandage around my whole leg, and I went to the hospital. I stayed in hospital for 1 week, but I had no serious damage to my leg because he had that stretch bandage, you know. So this is a very useful thing. Again, stopping bleeding, stopping circulation, smoothing, slowing it down, or anything like that. And then also just for sprains, if you twisted your leg or your ankle or something, a stretch bandage will stabilize that for you. Another tourniquet, another triangular bandage. This is a nasopharyngeal airway.
What is that?
So nasopharyngeal means through the nose, through the pharynx, on back here. And so if this doesn't work, this is through the throat, and this is through the nose. So again, you need training to put that in. You'll see it comes with a little bit of lubrication so that it goes in easily. But if someone has a really, swollen or occluded throat, then an airway like this can save their life. Again, need training to use it. All right. And then this is a pulse oximeter. So basically, you put that on your patient's finger, and it shows that they have a heartbeat. All right.
Yeah, this item become popular after COVID-19.
Yes, that's right, and it tests your blood oxygen. So there we go. Heartbeat and blood oxygen, all good.
So are you good?
So 66. Why is that so slow?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I think so.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, right. There you go. Okay, but so because it's very hard to feel for a pulse. People always show in the movies the guy just goes, oh yeah, oh I don't feel a pulse, or it's like it's not so easy, It's like a traditional medicine. Right. Yeah, but those guys have got very trained fingers, right? Yes. Yeah. No, I've heard of those guys who can take your two hands and look into your eye, and they can tell a lot about your health.
But this is really professional.
But this is now on the ground. Somebody's about to die. You need to be able to tell. Do they have a heartbeat? Is their heartbeat regular, irregular, slow, fast, whatever? All right. And then this, lastly, is a splint. So the splint, So if you open it up and you curve it, you can use it on somebody who's got a broken arm, for instance, or a broken ankle or something, and then use the stretch bandage with it to tie it in place, and it will stabilize the fracture. So that's for fractures.
That's for fractures. Right. So once you kind of broke your your bone, then
Yes.
it can stabilize.
Support it with that, and again get you to a hospital.
Okay.
So you will notice that what I don't have in here are sutures, right? Where to stitch close the wound, because that's movie stuff, all right? If you can get to a doctor within 48 hours, there's almost no point in suturing a wound by yourself.
Yes.
Use what you have here to close it, to keep it closed, to stop the bleeding and protect it from infection, and get to a hospital, get to a doctor who will then do the sutures. But it's super unlikely to have to do sutures in the field, in the mountain.
It's a Rambo thing.
Yeah, Rambo, exactly. Yes, right. So again, these are all things that will keep you alive until you can get to a proper hospital.
Yes. So it sounds really professional and difficult for average people to collect all these items and know how to use them.
So look, I find many people say, "Oh, I will never have so much stuff. You know, it's your hobby, blah blah blah." And I say, "Yes, it's my hobby. I enjoy collecting these things, and I enjoy learning how to use them and so on." But if you at least just have something, you know, I did a talk once, and a few weeks later, I met a woman. And she said, "Oh, I listened to your talk, and I bought a whistle." You know, and I thought, "Wow, that's great. You've done something.
Better than nothing.
It's better than nothing. You bought a whistle. You know, so whatever it is, do something. Make your plan. Get what you can. You know, which is the basic things you can get. Learn how to use them, and then you can already feel much more comfortable and much more prepared for whatever could happen.
And you can start with something very basic things.
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect or professional as we do, but you can do something very basic.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Tobie.
All right. Yeah. Absolutely. My pleasure.
To showcase so many items. That is fantastic.
It's my whole collection of toys.
Very fancy things.
Yeah.
I think our audience will like it.
I hope so. And I just want to say, why Taiwan? You know, this is awesome. And
that's important.
I'm planning to stay here. You know, no matter what happens, this is my home. This is my country now. And I hope to stay and to be useful in whatever way I can.
Thank you. This is very good conclusion. We will see you next time. Maybe we will still have a Tobie ourselves again.
我是學院自救救人，保健安眠。